the time has come where we are doing a summer Rex video. I honestly think that summer is actually my favorite reading season ever, so why not do a little rec? I'm right in front of a window here and I don't even know if I like this lighting. We will find out if I end up deciding to move throughout this video or not. Also, I did get my hair done. I think it's kind of a vibe. This is iced coffee, by the way, for the pregnancy police. It's technically my first coffee of the day, so I just feel fancier in a wine glass. So we're gonna start with some books that I feel like I don't really see recommended as much anymore, and then we're gonna move on to some of the more popular books. I think that I wanted to give you guys more books that are not just centered around a beach setting, although I do think that books are obviously setting a beach setting or a lake setting are definitely very beachy and summer reads. I do think that you can also read other stuff that kind of gives summer vibes, and honestly sometimes it even hits better in the summer. So starting with The Last Love Note by Emma Gray, I don't think this book is talked about enough. I stumbled upon this book on my own. This was not recommended to me by any single person ever. I read this about a year ago. This takes place in Australia. This woman's husband passes away and then she goes on this journey to find herself, and her business trip takes an unexpected turn, and then she reconnects with someone, technically. I don't want to get too much into it, but this is definitely a beachy setting, but there's a lot of grief and deeper topics in this one. I love this book so much. I'm currently reading her new release and I think she's a fabulous author, and if you like Emily Henry's books, you're probably going to like Emma Gray as well. Then we have, this is probably one of my favorite books of all time. This is called Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This is, honestly, I love a foreign author, meaning I just like European authors a lot because the way they talk and sometimes the dry European humor is just so fun. And this one is about Eleanor Oliphant. She has trouble with social skills. If I want to go a little full-on therapeutic with her because of my background, I will definitely say that she might be a little bit on the spectrum, but she does have issues with social skills, and she essentially creates this crush in her head of this guy who is in a band that she's never even met. I think she only saw him in a newspaper, and she goes on this journey to try to meet this guy and changes a lot of things about herself. And honestly, this book is such a breath of fresh air. There are some deeper topics in this, there's some trauma in this, and she does forget a lot of things that happened to her because of the trauma. So if you need to look up trigger warnings, you can. I just don't think it's not that heavy. I think it's a pretty easy read, but I love this one. It's a really, I read this way before I even joined BookTok and BookTube, so this is one of my OG favorite books. Then we have Normal People. Dare I even have to get into this because I feel like everyone knows this book by now. It's turned into a Hulu show. I thought the show definitely did this book justice. It's about Connell and Marianne. They grew up in adjacent places of the city. Connell is not from a wealthy family, Marianne is, and they have a very physical relationship when they're in high school, but then you see them go through all their phases and how they fall for each other. This is not a book that has a happy ending. Don't go into this thinking you're gonna get a cutesy little romance, because you won't be getting that. But I do think if you want to be one of the aesthetic beachy girls, if you pick up this book, it definitely gives a lot of cute pictures, but it's also a heart-wrenching book that is a 6-star read for me, so definitely recommend it. Then we have a young adult book called Love and Gelato. Lena is spending the summer in Tuscany because she's supposed to be spending time with her biological father, and there she goes on this little mystery trip to get to know her mom better because her mom did pass away. I don't remember if her mom actually passed away. I think she did, and that's why she goes to Italy. I have no idea. I read this such a long time ago, but if you are the younger audience watching me right now, this might be one of the only young adult books that I'm recommending. So this is definitely a romance, but it does have a little bit of mystery in it in a cutesy way. It's not too heavy, so definitely recommend this one. I feel like I already said definitely recommend this one so many times. It's so annoying. Every Summer After, and now she recently came out with a duology that follows this, even though it can also be read as a standalone. I can for the life of me find that copy. It's called One Golden Summer, but you can definitely read these separate. Definitely read this one first if you're planning to read both of them. This is about Persephone. I forgot her name. Percy, I think that's what they call her in the book. She made a really big mistake a long time ago in her life, and she always used to hang out with these two boys, and there's a little bit of a love triangle in here. There is a trope in this book that not a lot of people like. I thought that it was well done, but it might be a little triggering for some people. I really like the setting. It's like Barry's Bay. It's a very beachy setting. The love triangle, it's kind of heart-wrenching. I feel like I always go for the one guy that's usually I should end up with. But overall, it's a great book. And if you like to read two of her books back to back, I definitely recommend this one and then One Golden Summer. Those are the only two books she has written so far that I've actually enjoyed. So this one is a good one. Now, you're gonna make fun of me for my next two recs because this is why would she even be recommending these books at this point? Everyone knows these books exist. Everyone has read these books at some point. Well, I just read these books last year. I know they're super popular. I'm not trying to be like one of those girls that I discovered these books and I can't believe we're not talking about it. We're not doing that. I know these books are really popular, but they do happen to be really good, fast-paced summer reads if you're into fantasy. And Divergent, I'm not even gonna say what this is about because it would be kind of silly to tell you guys what Divergent is about. This has been around way longer than my hobby of reading. Actually, not really. I used to read when I was a kid a lot too, so. But Divergent, I think if you haven't read Divergent or if you feel nostalgic and you want to pick it up again, this makes for a really good beach read. And then we have City of Bones. I will talk a little bit about this one because as popular as this is, I don't think it's as popular as the Divergent series. So this one is part of a really big fantasy world called the Shadowhunters world, and I'm pretty sure there's two different series that are interconnected. So right now I'm reading the City books. They are City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire. And then we have the Clockwork books, and then the Lady Midnight books, Lord of Shadow books. This world is insane. I don't even know where to begin. I did a little bit of research, and I think some people say definitely start with the City of Bones books, so that's what I did. I love this one. I really liked it, and I definitely will be continuing the series. It has a little bit of a trope in there that's kind of giving Game of Thrones a little bit. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but people said to keep going, and I will keep going. It does go by super fast. The writing's pretty good. Honestly, there are some aspects of it that are a little icky because it is a fantasy world taking place into a modern time space. So sometimes when you're mixing anything fantasy with the modern setting, it can get a little weird. But this book came out such a long time ago that it's not icky it's not like they're gonna mention TikTok in it, so you're fine if that's something that worries you. Then we have Royal Parks. I've talked about this series so many times, but if you like fashion, if you want to be one of those it girls that's like vacationing in New York City and you're not necessarily looking for a beach setting, Magnolia Parks is great for you. Or if you're just like abroad in like London or something. Also, I do think anyone can read this book. It's like one of my most annotated books ever, and this is kind of OG cover, which I don't know if you can find very well anymore. I read this such a long time ago. It's about, let's just kind of comparison I can think of is Gossip Girl set in London. So it is the high elite of London society, and you have this really but also very infuriatingly annoying character that there's heartache. You just kind of characters. There's not a lot of plot twists or anything like that, but I don't know, it's really hard to put into words. It's my favorite series of all time if I had to pick. Literally my Kindle case is Magnolia Parks themed, so yeah, I love it. So I thought I'll recommend it on here. This is Emily Henry's new release. It's called Great Big Beautiful Life. This book got a lot of mixed reviews. I was one of those people who loved this book to the point where I'm rating this one so high in my Emily Henry ranking right now that it's insane. This one is about, she's a biographer kind of. She's trying to write a book about this woman who is part of like think the last great American dynasty song type of vibe. So she goes to this island and like town something, and she says to interview this woman, and she's competing for this job with another writer. And the romance in this, if you like beach read, I think this is so beach read coded. I gave this book 6 stars. That I know that's not like actually possible, but I love this book so much. It gives beach read. But you also have this other storyline, because it kind of timelines where you go back and you have this whole set of storylines that have nothing to do with the couple that we're following in this book, that I feel like you can fall in love with 2 completely different sets of stories that eventually become connected somewhat, and it's just amazing. I think this book is genius. If you also like the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, this is slightly similar. I wouldn't say it's like point exactly the same book. I just realized the last point that I made was kind of stupid. Obviously, if it was the exact same book, it would just be called plagiarism, and no, I'm not saying that that's what happened here. It's just a similar setting and a similar plot line a little bit. Then we have Love of My Afterlife. I feel like I'm going to be recommending this book also during fall time, because it's kind of ghosty vibes. So this one is about this woman. She dies and she goes to heaven, and then when she's up in heaven, she makes a deal to try to go back to earth so she can essentially fix her life so she can stay, right? But then things just take a little bit of a twist. This is the comedic timing of this book. It's insane. It's so funny, but not in a way where like it's cheesy. This is a great book. I loved every single second of it. So read this. Then we have Just Last Night by Mari McFarlane. I actually got the arc of her new book. I really want to get into it because I love her books. So far I've only read 2 of her books, but I just know she's going to be one of my new favorite authors, because every single one of her books that I've read so far has been 4 or higher. My back is kind of killing me, guys, because I'm severely pregnant right now, and I need to lay down probably right after this video. But Just Last Night, this one is about, I'm just gonna read you the description. Actually, no, do I need to do that? So this girl's best friend passes away, and then she goes on this journey to get to know her by mistake, and then she realizes she pretty much doesn't really know this whole side of her friend, and there's a very unexpected romance. It's definitely good. Guys, there's like hair flying everywhere because I do have dogs and they were up here recently. So but this one, the romance is definitely a subplot. It's definitely there, but it's not like a full-on romance book. I love this book. I think romance as a subplot is one of my new favorite things ever. It's definitely a little more women's fiction coded. Her writing style also really reminds me of Emily Henry. So if you like that, pick up one of her books. Definitely start here. I do think this is her best book so far. I literally just got distracted for a solid 5 minutes, and I forgot that the camera was recording me. My pregnancy brain, guys, it's not braining very hard right now. It's super bad. Then we have Heartless Hunter. This is a duology, one of my new favorite romantasy duologies. This reads pretty quick also. This is about, so we have witch hunters and we have witches in this book. It is definitely more fall coded, but if you want to read this towards the end of August, where you're already sneaking in some pumpkin spice lattes, mind you, this autumn is gonna look very different for me. I'm gonna have my own pumpkin, my baby, and then I'm gonna be drinking a lot of pumpkin spice lattes by the bulk, because I will max out my caffeine after baby's out, I swear. So definitely read it towards the end of August. I feel like this is still, you can sneak this in during summertime, but if I were to pick a time to read this, end of August, perfect. So you have this witch hunter who's essentially hunting this witch, and they know who each other are. They know that they're after each other, at least there's suspicions of it. This is a really well done enemies to lovers that needs more recognition. Read sequel to this was amazing. I was lucky enough to have gotten the arc for this back when it was not out, and that was one of the best arcs I've ever gotten in my life. So then we have The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. This is the new, I want to say this is the last Christina Lauren book. I could be wrong about that, but if you like The Honeymooners, you might like this one too. This is the UK cover that I decided to order. So this one is about this girl who's in a deal with this guy where they're pretending to be dating or engaged, but then they have to pretend even a little harder when they go to this island for someone's wedding. And I have to say the comedic timing of this one is also great. It's a really funny book, and it is the perfect beach read, and it goes by so quick. I actually read this last year during my wedding anniversary, and we were at the beach. It was literally perfect. And then last but not least, we have a Lynn Painter book. I'm a big Better in the Movies girly, but this one is called Betting on You, and I love when Lynn Painter makes her protagonist wear glasses, because your girly wears glasses too, and the representation is needed. So it's about Charlie and the way I forgot her name, Bailey. That's like my dog's name. Bailey and Charlie, they met at the airport in a little bit of a tricky situation. They didn't really like each other, but then when they realized they live in the same town, they had the same friends and stuff, and then they pretend to be dating to piss off Bailey's parents or step-parents. And it's pretty good. I feel like Lynn Painter always manages to add some deeper topics to her young adult books, and I think she's the queen of young adult romance, so definitely pick up this one. And that's it, guys. Now it's time for me to get into bed. I'm joking, but it is. I'm so tired. I'm not even kidding. Also, my new Warby Parker glasses are really slaying right now. I got 2 new ones. Go to my TikTok. You'll probably see them in my videos anyways. But anyways, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I do think that if you want me to do a recommendation video based on tropes alone, I can definitely do that. I love sit down videos because they're so easy for me to film. I'm not out of breath as much when I'm filming these, and they're a good filler space for when I don't upload as often as I should, which I'm trying to be better at, because I'm trying to make this my full-time job. Don't tell anybody, but I'm trying. So that's all I have to say for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, guys.